Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Fans over money is what David Benavidez is out here saying. He wants the dough, but he doesn't really want to go and fight in Saudi in an empty building, in an empty conference room, in an empty stadium, empty arena. He doesn't want to do it. He's a guy who wants to fight in the States, with a packed stadium, packed arena, and get in there and do the business. Now, you see, the thing is, when it comes to fighters, they often face a tough choice between trying to maximize their earnings, because boxing it's called prize fighting, so they fight for a prize, which is the money, the dollar bill, y'all. But also, they want to fight in front of their passionate fans. Now, some prioritize really big paydays, but I think when you get to a certain point in boxing, I think the big payday is the motivation and is all you pretty much care about. If you've already had a long tenure in boxing where you fought in front of the fans, you've had the fans motivate you, you've had the adrenaline rush. But when you get to a certain point, I just think the big paydays and opting for those fights that bring the most financial security, even if the matchup's not exciting, the venue's not exciting, I think there's some fighters who will go that direction. Now, there are going to be other fighters, like you listen to Martin Bakoli, Bam Rodriguez, and there was someone else talking about it. But they were saying, as far as they're concerned, they value legacy. They value the fan engagement. And taking fights that may pay less, but enhance their reputation and entertain the audience, because if your reputation grows and your audience grows, then your profile grows, and so will your platform and your fight person. So everyone's going to see this a little bit differently. But I just think at the end of the day, it depends on where you're at in your career. You look at David Benavidez. I mean, is he really looking for financial security, or is he already financially secured? I heard somebody saying they feel like David Benavidez is putting duck sauce on the fried rice, because he doesn't want to go to Saudi and be in a 50-50 matchup. To that I say, in the most respectful way, and you'll hold your horses and stop taking it to the stupid. David Benavidez putting duck sauce on the carne asada, duck sauce on the fried rice. Who, what, when, where, why? How did we arrive at this conclusion? Benavidez ain't putting duck sauce on shit. I kind of agree with him. That would be hard, man, to be motivated to just walk into a stadium with low energy and have to get up there and scrap. Probably till you get punched in your face, but I don't know. But anyway, when it comes to boxing, when it comes to anyone involved in a combat sport, their careers are cut short. So there are some fighters who are going to say, you know what, if I get over there and get the golden ticket to go and secure my financial security, to become financially secure and lock down my future, I'm going to go out there, man, and take the fight in Saudi, man, F the fans. Then there are others who are like, look, I get it. The Saudi payday is cool, but we want legacy and reputation. And if we can get that, and hell, that's okay with us. You got to look, there's some guys who just want to be remembered for being great. And with that, who's a good example? Augustus. Was it Emmanuel Augustus? Yeah, Emmanuel Augustus. Yo, this guy never became a champion. He could have, but he just gave us memorable fights. Gabe Rosado, since he's a guy who's just recently retired, another one. He's a guy who gave us memorable fights. So there are some who just about legacy and reputation. When Gabe Rosado and Emmanuel Augustus were coming to the ring, they were going to leave it all on the line. Then there's promotional influence, you know what I'm saying? Organizations sometimes want to, dictate the matchmaking, like what you see Riyadh season and Turki Alalshikh'S trying to do, kind of like the UFC. And that can often influence the decision of a fighter with the direction they go. Then there's, for David Benavidez, he's got the money, but him is just like, look, man, fan support and exposure. That's what I want. Fighting in front of a passionate crowd, and that's just going to boost my brand and future earnings. So I agree with David, and I think he, unlike many, is in a position where he can kind of adjust fire and go a different route than succumb to the pressures, the financial offerings of Turki Alalshikh'S. However, when you think about money, legacy, reputation, fan support, and exposure, there's some fighters out there to this day, like Floyd Mayweather, who've been criticized for, at the end of his career anyway, prioritizing financial gain over legacy fights. But let's not act like Floyd didn't, establish a sound legacy. Floyd fought everybody and whipped everybody's ass. Yeah, before he retired, he didn't go fight Thurman. He didn't fight Crawford. He didn't fight Earl Spence. People wanted him to go out there and fight them young guns, and I'll be honest with you, I think he would have beat them. I do. And this may sound wild to y'all. I think Amir Khan would have been the problem for Floyd. That reach and speed. I think that speed would have given him some problems. Now, Floyd would have touched him too, but I just think that speed. Amir Khan, around that time, that speed was something else. And I think even Floyd knew, like, shit, I'll get my ass in here and lose to this guy from Bolton, England. That's not going to look good. But anyway, he still had to favor Floyd, but I would have gave Khan a good chance in that matchup. But anyway, man, people talk about Floyd and then they come and they talk about Manny Pacquiao. Because Pacquiao just, irregardless, man, he just fought tough opponents. He didn't care about the payday. What would Pacquiao say? Go toe-to-toe. Pacquiao just wanted to fight toe-to-toe and sing karaoke. That's all my man want to do. Fight toe-to-toe and sing that goddamn karaoke. But it just depends on the fighter's goals and the circumstances. And when you look at David Benavidez, obviously his goal is to make as much money possible, but in an entertaining fight with the crowd support. And I just think when you talk about fighters being motivated in fighting, I just think fighters are often highly motivated by performing in front of a packed arena that's filled with their fans. And I can understand that. I'm gonna tell you, I had a boxing match one time, right? And I remember they even had the music for us. You select your song. The DJ played the shit when you walked out there. And I remember, man, the song and entering the ring and fucking that shit, it does something to you. And the crowd was going berserk, you know what I'm saying? Especially so put it to you this way. I got the win, but I couldn't hear anything until I hit that dude and knocked him down. Then the crowd went crazy. And then I could hear all the screams. I could hear my name and all that. And then when I started fighting again, dead silence. But it does do something to you when you hear that crowd and you feel the energy of the crowd. You know what I'm saying? I just think the energy of the crowd for a guy like David Benavidez, especially the way he fights, I think it helps to boost his adrenaline. I think that shit fuels him. And I think he felt that when he went over there watching Bivol and Beterbiev. I think he was like, this shit is like lifeless. There's no pulse in here. And I think he felt that, like, man, it's like eating bland food. It's like, okay, it sounds good, give you this dried tomato with something cream over something pasta and pesto sauce, all kind of shit. You see the image, it look good. You try that shit bland as hell. You might as well eat a piece of goddamn cardboard. You don't want that shit. But it sounds good, it looks good, but when you actually get it, like, nah, this isn't what I thought. So then you go your ass back to eating what the hell you eating, even if it's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But anyway, man, many fighters thrive on the road to audience, and I definitely think David Benavidez does, using that as an emotional, psychological advantage because he was one of the hardest hitters in boxing, especially at 175. David Morrell clipped him. Benavidez' legs buckled. And what did he do? He got up. Well, he didn't fall down, but he regained his composure, and he fought even harder. And the crowd went crazy. So I definitely, when you think about the personality, the experience, the mindset of David Benavidez, I'm not surprised he's putting fans over money. You know what I'm saying? So I guess the question really is, would you say that the crowd plays a big role in how the fight unfolds, And if you were to ask me if the crowd plays a big role in how the fight unfolds, I'm going to tell you absolutely. Absolutely, man. The energy from the crowd can change the entire atmosphere of a fight. And the energy of the crowd can change the entire atmosphere of a venue. Especially, how many times you've seen a crowd rooting for one person, then start rooting for the other guy just because of how the guy is fighting and trying to do whatever he can to win. Next thing you know, he started having success. Fan gets behind him, and he gets a knockout or a win. The underdog. So, yeah, man, the energy from the crowd can change the atmosphere. And some fighters feed off of that damn noise. They feed off of that excitement. And that helps them push through tough moments. And when David Benavidez is in fights, whether you agree or not, he's always in tough moments because his thing is all gas, no brakes. Every second of a fight for him is tough. But he's letting his hands go and he's destroying his opponents. But he has that kind of style where he's coming forward, so he's going to get hit. He's not a guy who's trying to, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, and slip shots. No, he's coming forward for the mash-up, crash-up. So everything with him, man, is just one of those things where it's going to be tough moments that he creates for himself. But, hey, he wants to take risk and be successful. And, again, that crowd will shift. That momentum will shift, you know what I'm saying, depending on the crowd's energy. And I just think when you look at Benavidez, when he gets a knockdown, the fans roar, go crazy. Out there in Saudi, they get excited, but it ain't the same. You know what I mean? It's just not the same. You get a knockdown, if the underdog it somehow tends to turn things around, and you just see the atmosphere can change, and I can't blame them. I think most guys who are in a good financial position, if they go over there and see for themselves what it feels like, I think most of them will probably say, you know what, that money's good, but I would rather stay back here in the United States and fight or anywhere where there's going to be a big electric crowd. Because one thing we know about David Benavidez and a lot of fans, they thrive on the crowd energy. From being in the back, getting gloved up, the walkout, the electricity when they come out, the crowd going crazy, the music, whatever it is, they thrive on that. And with Benavidez, with that high aggressive, high pressure style, I just think it benefits from the roar of the fans, because the more he goes, the more the fans go crazy. And at the end of the day, when Benavidez is on go, his pace is relentless, and there aren't many fighters out there who can keep up with that guy. But remember, Benavidez was whipping Triple G's ass at age 15. He was putting them bing bings on Kelly Pavlik at age 15. All right? And Coyote, forgot his first name, Latif Coyote, big, strong cruiserweight, light heavyweight. He was putting the bing bings on him. Latif Coyote was a monster. He touched up Antonio Tarver. But anyway, the crowd gives extra motivation to David Benavidez for him to dominate his opponents. But anyway, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. I'll just say this, with Benavidez and his next fight, seeing that he could be fighting Caleb Smith or Anthony Yarde, I just think he's going to need to be in an arena filled with electricity. He's going to need to hear the cheers. He's going to need to use that adrenaline from the crowd to push him through, to let go of those combinations and relentless pressure, because Smith and Yarde can fight and they can crack. And remember, for David Benavidez, I don't know if he's really settled into 175 yet, but those other guys have been at 175 for a while. So it's really going to be, I think, a true test for him at 175, fighting those guys who have been around for a while. But I still gave David Benavidez the nod to get the victory, you know what I'm saying? But let's just see what happens. Those guys, UK guys, I don't know if they want to come to the States. I don't know how it's going to go. Turki Alalshikh'S putting the money up, I don't know. But one thing for sure is, again, it comes to the promoter's influence. And with Turki Alalshikh'S, he wants what he wants, and he's going to pay you to do what he says. And David Benavidez is either going to take it or he's going to turn it down. I just, the more I listen to him, I think he wants that loud support. I think it'd be hard to see him backing down from his personal desires and just going after the money. I don't think he'll be able to live with himself, man. Anyway, I do think he'll possibly get a knockout. I don't know about him going the distance if there's the crowd, but if there's no crowd, who knows what happens in that fight? Because obviously for David Benavidez, that's something that he needs. Anyway, y'all keep cool. Fans over money for David Benavidez in the breeze.